Get ready for an epic adventure through history. Alexander the Great's burial sites are shrouded in mystery. It's true that this legendary leader was laid to rest not once, but multiple times in different parts of the world. His golden casket got a makeover more than just once, and the quest to uncover his final resting place has sparked the passion of many an archaeologist over the centuries. We're talking about one of history's greatest unsolved puzzles. Can you guess what makes this mystery so enduring? Buckle up and let's dive into the fascinating story of Alexander the Great. Before we embark on this treasure hunt for his legendary tome, it's essential to understand why he's considered one of history's most incredible leaders. Born as Alexander III of Macedon, this ancient Greek king took over the throne at just 20 years old. Can you imagine? By his 30th birthday, he had single-handedly built an empire that stretched from Greece all the way to Asia, leaving a lasting legacy that shaped our world today. As we explore the intriguing tale of his final resting place, get ready to uncover why this search has captivated people for centuries and what makes Alexander's story truly unforgettable. Now that you're pumped about Alexander's epic life, let's talk about how it all came to an abrupt end. In 323 BC, this legendary leader passed away in Babylon at just 32 years old. A shocking twist for someone who'd accomplished so much. For 2 days, Alexander was battling a severe fever, and his health rapidly declined until he could no longer speak. The mystery surrounding the cause of his death has sparked debates for centuries, but one thing's for sure, it was a tragic loss that left a huge void in history. His sudden demise set off a chain reaction, with various factions vying for power, making the search for his final resting place even more intense and intriguing. Theories about Alexander's demise continue to fascinate us. Could it have been a natural illness like typhoid or malaria that took him down, or did someone silently end his reign with poison? The uncertainty only adds to the drama. When news of his passing spread, Macedonia was thrown into chaos. Without an appointed successor, power struggles erupted and everyone's focus was on securing their own position. In the midst of this frenzy, Alexander's final resting place in Babylon slipped their minds, leaving him exposed to the scorching desert heat for 6 long days. But then came a stunning discovery. Despite the sweltering conditions, his body showed no signs of decay, sparking whispers of something extraordinary and setting the stage for an epic quest to uncover the truth. As the shock of losing their legendary leader began to sink in, the people of Babylon sprang into action. Led by Perthicus, the highest-ranking official who took charge of preserving Alexander's body through an elaborate embalming process. For 2 whole years, Perthicus meticulously planned a grand journey back to Alexander's homeland in Macedonia, where he'd be laid to rest in a tomb fit for royalty, according to Macedonian customs. To ensure their king's safe passage, Perthicus oversaw the creation of a golden carriage that resembled a miniature temple, a true marvel of ancient craftsmanship, specially designed to cradle Alexander's remains as they made their way back home. But here's where things get really interesting. This golden, temple-like carriage wasn't just any ordinary hearse. It was a grand tribute to Alexander's legendary status, boasting intricate details that celebrated his incredible leadership and warrior spirit. And talk about massive. We're talking 64 mighty mules needed to pull this behemoth across the desert sands. In 321 BC, Perthicus' carefully planned procession finally set off from Babylon towards Macedonia. But little did he know, a rival power player had other plans. Enter Ptolemy I of Egypt, who'd been keeping tabs on Alexander's remains and saw an opportunity to make a bold move. You see, Ptolemy and Perthicus weren't exactly best buds. They were arch-nemesis in the cutthroat world of ancient politics. And with this priceless cargo, Ptolemy was ready to turn the tables and secure his own claim to fame. Now we're diving into some real politic. Ptolemy I had a master plan, and it revolved around the revered remains of Alexander. He saw the corpse as an ultimate status symbol, a kind of ancient holy grail that would catapult him to superpower status. In his mind, swiping this legendary body from under Perthicus' nose was the perfect move. It'd crush his rival's credibility and spread Ptolemy's fame like wildfire across the globe. So, with stealth and cunning, Ptolemy struck when the funeral procession passed through Egypt. He bribed the guards and made a daring grab for the golden carriage, whisking Alexander's remains away to Memphis, leaving Perthicus in the dust. The consequences were severe. Perthicus' authority was shaken, and he knew he had to act fast to restore his honor. With a fierce battle cry, he led his troops into Egypt, determined to clash with Ptolemy and reclaim what was rightfully his. But little did he know, this wasn't the end of the power struggle just yet. Fasten your seatbelts, folks Thor. Things are about to take a dramatic turn. Ptolemy I was not one to give up easily, and in the epic battle that ensued, he emerged victorious. Perthicus fell, and with his rival defeated, Ptolemy seized control of Alexander's remains. This power play marked the beginning of a new chapter. Egypt was about to become the new custodian of Alexander's legacy. But here's where things get really interesting. Ptolemy started spinning a web of deceit, weaving tales that he and Alexander shared a blood bond. He claimed Alexander was actually the long-lost son of Nectanebo-Cuy, the former pharaoh of Egypt who died in exile. Can you believe it? The king of Macedon was now the son of an Egyptian pharaoh. Ptolemy then went all out and had Alexander's body mummified, a sacred rite reserved for Egyptian royalty. He placed the legendary remains in a sarcophagus meant for Nectanebo-Cuy, effectively blending two cultures into one grand narrative. Little did he know that this was only the beginning of a centuries-old mystery surrounding the tomb of the great Alexander. You won't believe how Ptolemy I leveraged his fake family ties to solidify his grip on Egypt. By linking himself to the legendary Alexander, he cleverly legitimized his rule in the eyes of the people. And that's not all. This masterstroke of PR allowed him to establish a strong foundation for his dynasty. In 301 BC, Ptolemy made Alexandria, founded by none other than Alexander the Great, his new capital city, effectively distancing himself from Memphis and its ancient traditions. This bold move was just the beginning. He then set out to create an opulent tomb for Alexander in the heart of Alexandria. And let me tell you, it would be a structure that would leave historians and treasure hunters alike scratching their heads for centuries to come. Ptolemy's game-changing moves didn't stop at Alexander's tomb. He went all out to transform Alexandria into an Alexander-themed wonderland. He constructed jaw-dropping monuments throughout the city, establishing a grand state cult that worshipped Alexander as a living legend. Everywhere you looked in Alexandria, you'd spot statues of the great king, reminding everyone of his supposed ties to Ptolemy's dynasty. And if all that wasn't enough, Ptolemy also brought out the big guns. He organized extravagant festivals and invited visitors from far-flung corners of the globe to pay their respects. It was a masterstroke of propaganda, designed to create an unbreakable bond between his family and Alexander's legacy. By doing so, Ptolemy set the stage for a dynasty that would last for generations, all thanks to his bold plan to harness the magic of Alexander's name. Ptolemy's genius move paid off in a big way. His clever leveraging of Alexander's legacy catapulted the Ptolemaic kingdom into global superstardom. The wealth, grandeur, and unbeatable power of Egypt were on full display for all to see. And guess what? By associating themselves with the mighty Alexander, the Ptolemies became basically royalty, revered as sacred figures in their own right. Fast forward a few decades, and we find Ptolemy IV dropping another bombshell. He built an incredible royal burial complex called the Soma, where future generations of the dynasty would rest in style, solidifying Egypt's status as the epicenter of power and prestige. Get ready for more mind-blowing moves by Ptolemy IV. He decided to relocate Alexander's body from its original tomb to a VIP spot in the Soma, where it would take center stage alongside the Ptolemies. This strategic placement was pure genius. It hammered home the link between the royal dynasty and their legendary hero, cementing Egypt's status as an epicenter of power and prestige. As a result, the Soma became the ultimate tourist hotspot in Alexandria, attracting pilgrims from far and wide to catch a glimpse of Alexander's tomb. It was truly the heart of the city. Don't forget to smash that like button if you're loving this historical lowdown. Your support helps us keep bringing you the best edutainment content. But, just like all good things must come to an end, the Ptolemaic dynasty couldn't maintain its grip on power forever. It started to crumble. By the late 1st century BC, this once mighty empire was a shadow of its former self. Talk about a downfall. In a jaw-dropping move that'll make you go only in history, Ptolemy X made a desperate decision in 89 BC. With debt piling up and no clear solution in sight, he did the unthinkable. He took Alexander's solid gold sarcophagus, melted it down for cash, and replaced it with a new one made of glass. We can't help but wonder what Alexander would have thought about this radical transformation. But wait, it gets even crazier. Not only did Ptolemy X cash in on Alexander's golden goods, But another infamous ruler from the same dynasty followed suit. Cleopatra Vis, the last pharaoh of ancient Egypt, got creative with her own financial woes. She raided Alexander's tomb to fund her epic battle against Octavian, aka Augustus Caesar. This bold move came at a price, though, because it ultimately marked the end of an era. With Cleopatra's passing in 31 BC, the Ptolemaic dynasty drew its last breath after ruling Egypt for an impressive 323 years. The stage was set for a new power to take center stage, ours. The Romans were knocking on Egypt's door, ready to put their own mark on this ancient land, and guess what? They had a thing or two about Alexander's tomb too. So, you're wondering what happened next to Alexander's remains. Well, the Romans became the proud owners of the legendary warrior's body, but their motivations were a far cry from the Ptolemies' obsession with power and wealth. The Romans had bigger plans for the ancient world, and they saw value in connecting themselves to Alexander's legacy. But did you know that Alexander didn't conquer everyone? Yep, there were some impressive empires and territories that remained beyond his reach. Let's dive into those uncharted lands and see what made them so special. Imagine for a second, what if Alexander had set his sights on the mighty city of Rome? Could he have taken it down? Or would Rome's strength have stood its ground against the unstoppable force that was Alexander? It's hard not to wonder what would have happened in this epic showdown, considering Alexander's reputation as a master conqueror. The Romans, in fact, were so inspired by his achievements that they saw him as the ultimate role model of someone who embodied the power and prestige they longed for themselves. You won't believe who paid their respects at Alexander's final resting place, none other than some of Rome's most powerful leaders. Julius Caesar, Augustus, Titus, Caligula, Hadrian, and Vespasian all made the journey to the Soma to show their respect. But here's a twist. Despite the Romans' admiration for Alexander's conquests, they actually had it out for his allies, the Ptolemies. So much so that when the Romans took over Alexandria, some accounts suggest they even dug up and removed the tombs of the Ptolemaic family. Fast forward to centuries later, and Alexandria was shaken by wars, leadership shake-ups, and a major overhaul of its culture and religion. Talk about a city with a rich, dramatic history. But here's what happened next. Despite all the drama, Alexander's tomb managed to withstand the test of time, at least for a while. However, as the centuries rolled by, it slowly faded from memory. The last known record of Alexander's final resting place comes from a writer named Libanius in 390 AD. He swore that Alexander's body was still on display in Alexandria. But just 10 years later, poof, it vanished into thin air. That's when the search for Alexander's lost remains began all over again, and trust me, it's been an ongoing adventure ever since. Now, let's dive into the mystery surrounding Alexander's body. Many historians believe that the key to understanding what happened lies in the shifting religious landscape of Alexandria during this time. You see, around the late 4th century, a new player emerged on the scene: the followers of Christ. As Christianity spread its roots in Alexandria, people from all walks of life, including Jews, Christians, and pagans, had coexisted relatively peacefully for centuries. But then, when the Roman Empire divided, something significant changed. Christianity started growing at an incredible rate, eventually becoming the majority faith, and that's when things got really interesting. But here's where things take a dramatic turn. As Christianity kept gaining momentum in Alexandria, tensions between Christians and pagans skyrocketed. You see, Christians weren't shy about speaking out against paganism. They openly condemned it, and their anger often boiled over into vandalism, targeting pagan monuments as a symbol of their disgust. Then, in 391 AD, Eastern Roman Emperor Theodosius took the next step by officially banning paganism altogether. With this new law, any remaining symbols or sites associated with paganism were deemed fair game for destruction. It was like a green light for Christians to take revenge on the old ways, and it's here that our story about Alexander's tomb starts to get really intense. Temples, like the magnificent Serapeum, dedicated to the god Serapis, were reduced to ashes, leaving historians wondering if something similar might have happened to Alexander's final resting place. Now, let's get to what really happened to Alexander's final resting place. Over time, his tomb became super popular among locals who worshipped him. I mean, who wouldn't want to pay respects to one of history's greatest leaders? But here's the thing. This pagan pilgrimage site was right in the middle of a city that had just switched sides to Christianity. And we know how Christians felt about paganism. They weren't exactly fans. So, it's totally possible that Christian zealots targeted Alexander's tomb for destruction. The question is, did they get his body too? Or was it somehow saved beforehand? Or maybe the body was destroyed along with the tomb in a fiery blaze. We can't say for sure, but this theory definitely makes sense given what we know about the time period and the tensions between Christians and pagans in Alexandria. But there's another twist to this story that might just blow your mind. Hold up, things might not be as cut and dried as we thought. You see, it wasn't always a case of destroy or be destroyed. Sometimes, the Alexandrian Christians had a more clever approach. They'd take over pagan sites and turn them into churches. This way, they could erase the old ways without actually getting their hands dirty. And that's exactly what might have happened to Alexander's tomb. According to some historians, it could have been transformed into the Church of St. Mark, named after the city's very own Christian pioneer. The Church of St. Mark was built back in 390 AD, and guess when we last hear about Alexander's body? Around the same time. Andrew Chugg, a historian, put forward this theory that might just change our understanding of what really happened to Alexander's final resting place. But here's where things get even juicier. Andrew Chugg's theory takes another wild turn. He believes that Venetian traders swooped in on Alexandria, but instead of swiping a priceless artifact, they made off with the wrong body. They mistook Alexander's remains for those of St. Mark, the city's patron saint. Then, they snuck it back to Venice and started treating it like royalty, enshrining it in the breathtaking Basilica Cathedral Patriarchal di San Marco. Meanwhile, as people kept searching for Alexander's final resting place, more mysterious coffins popped up, each one a potential clue about the legendary king's fate, just waiting to be uncovered. Fast forward to 1801, the British Army stumbled upon a massive stone coffin during one of their raids, thinking it was Alexander's final resting place. But when they brought it back to Britain, a team of sleuths decoded the hieroglyphics and revealed a surprising truth. This wasn't Alexander's tomb after all. It belonged to Nicton Ava II. Although it wasn't the discovery they were hoping for, there was a silver lining. The coffin did hold one of history's greatest secrets. It contained Alexander's body at some point. Yep, you read that right. Ptolemy moved the remains to another tomb in Alexandria. To this day, the hunt continues for the legendary king's final resting place. With new excavations and top-notch archaeologists on the case, we might just uncover the truth about what really happened to Alexander's tomb and body. The search for Alexander the Great's final resting place is still an unsolved mystery. But we've got two intriguing theories to share with you. Could it be hidden underneath a church in Alexandria or even in Venice? Share your thoughts. Do you